Hey folks, Storm here with another model for you. I'm going to show you how I take something that looks like this, and then we're going to turn it into something that looks like this. Well, how are we going to do that exactly? Well, sit back and relax, and I will show you everything you need to know how to make Superman. Okay folks, let's get started with this base. Now, I found this design on Cults 3D by a guy that goes by Eddie's Workshop, but he no longer offers any new designs, but he is available on Cults 3D. So if you're curious where I got this, that's where I did find it. So what I'm doing here with this base is I'm spraying it with black metallic because it's a really nice base coat when you're going to do light metal or other metallics, because it's not black. It's not just flat black, but it's actually a metallic black, which gives you really nice recessed details. And what I'm doing here is I'm taking this light metal by Ammo and I'm dry brushing it over top of the entire thing. Because what that does is it gives us a nice contrast. So we have bright light metal bits, and then we have the contrast of the dark metallic that we first sprayed down. It's just very similar to like a zenithal, but in this case it's metallic. But it's not really a zenithal because we're not bringing it in from a certain angle. What we're trying to do is really bring out the details, and as you watch me dry brush, you'll notice that the details really do come to life on this piece. And there's a lot more of the smaller protrusions that start to show up because they're much brighter. And whenever you're painting a model, smaller stuff always needs to be brighter or else it'll be lost in the background. So you can see what I did with that little city there is do the same thing, and you can see how easily you can see all the building details. Now the top of this thing here, I don't know what it is, so forgive me, but I'm painting it with a light blue metallic paint that Adam does offer, and I really like this color for the top of this head, and we painted it over the light metal because, well, again, it kind of works like I think the slap chop method would be something very similar to this, right, where you paint it black and then slap chop it with white. But instead I'm using metallics. And here for that little city, I'm using some Citadel translucent paints. I'm starting with this yellow to make the whole town this yellowish color. And then afterwards, we're going to come back with this orange and do it along the bottom to add a cool effect. And I am using a reference photo that the original designer did provide, which is typically what I use. And if I can't find a file or a photo from the original designer, there are some that don't do colored renders. I just use comic book references and things like that. So in this case, we did get a nice render, and that's what I'm using. So there's this piece of concrete that's stuck inside this robot's head that Superman, I'm assuming, put there. So we're going to be painting this. We started with black, just as we did on the entire piece, and I'm dry brushing it with these three colors of gray. And when I dry brush with those colors of gray, it gives it a nice concrete look, and you get the contrast of the black, so you don't lose the little cracks and details. Now next up, I mixed these two gray colors together to do the face of this robot thing. And the idea here is just to spray around the details as much as possible. And you can see I masked off the areas that I'd already painted. Because whenever you're airbrushing, you always want to start with your biggest area and work down to your smallest area. And I shouldn't say just airbrushing. Anytime you're painting, you always want to think, what's my biggest area? Paint that first, then work your way down to your smallest areas. And you can see what I'm trying to do is, again, same thing. I did the bigger areas. And now what I'm actually doing is preparing the eyes for some fluorescent reds that we're going to be using. Same thing with these little lighted ports or whatever they are on this robot. These are like a red color, but in order for them to actually show up red, we need to paint them white. And they have kind of a glowing effect. So the easiest way to do a glowing effect, I've showed this in many videos, so it's not new. For any of you who have seen my channel before, you'll know that I use this a lot. I spray white first, and then I spray my fluorescent paints over top of it. And fluorescent paints, not only are they very bright, but they also glow under black light, which is really nice. Now I wanted to bring out some of the little details on this piece in the metallic bits so it wasn't too boring. So I decided to use a black wash over top of those metallics, and that really even further enhances that black metallic base coat we put down in the beginning. Now I'm going to take this red color, and we're going to go over top of the silver that I painted earlier on these lights or whatever they are. They almost look like glass glowing bits. I'm not really sure. But again, I'm just painting this translucent paint over the silver, and this is actually what I use. I always call it my gem technique because I use this same technique for a lot of little gems and cool bits on characters, because instead of having to print in clear, you can actually get what looks like something that was printed in clear by painting metallics down first and then painting translucent paint over it, and it almost gives it like a gem-like appearance, which is why I call it my gem technique. Now you can see here I'm using that fluorescent red paint, and I'm filling in where the glowy bits are, and we're going to do the eyes here in just a second. So there we can see how easy it is to control that, and because it's glowing, if you get a little overspray, it just looks like object source lighting, so it's not a big deal. And we did that over top of the white. It's very important that you paint it white first with the airbrush before you do that. And that's our finished base. We did a little bit more on the arms. It looks about the same, but that's it. That's the base, all ready to go. Now we do have to do this clear piece, but we'll come back to that right now, because we're going to sand that. I completely forgot we had this piece. So I had done this on Mr. Freeze a while ago, but I didn't record the process, and everyone asked me about it. Essentially, you go down in sanding grit, start with a low grit, and keep sanding a finer and finer grit, and then you have to spray or apply a clear coat to make it clear. And here you can see like kind of before and after how much clearer it becomes, and you can literally see it's almost like I'm spraying away the fog. I want to take a moment to say thank you to my patrons that support my work. If you're interested in some exclusive content, including daily vlogs and how-to videos, so you can get better at this hobby, or perhaps you are ready to take the next step and turn your hobby and passion into a side gig and earn some extra cash, head on over to my Patreon, where you can get exclusive access to extra content. With the base out of the way, let's move on to Superman. We're going to start with the red parts. So obviously his cape we're gonna do first, but we also have some other red parts, and I'm just literally using red from Ammo's Atom range. This range of paints is my absolute favorite for airbrushing. They spray as smooth as lacquers, but they're actually in acrylic, and you can see how easily they just come out of my airbrush. Now I do mix them about 50-50 with the Atom thinner in my airbrush, but even so, these things are just beautiful to spray. I'm using a 0.3mm needle nozzle inside of my base coating brush, which is a trigger type, but I'm only using it for base coating. What I typically then use is my Harder and Steenbecks for blending. Now you can see here, you can use either one of these colors, they're about the same, and my patrons actually asked me to try out the speed paints to show how they would perform compared to my usual Citadels that I use for contrast. And actually what I did was I used the Slaughter Red, but I wanted to show you the comparatives in case you already have Citadels. And I'm just putting this in all the shadowed areas to create some contrast. This is a really easy and nice technique if you really want to take your models to the next level and stop making them look like toys and make them look like a sculpture. You need to add contrast. And you can see what I'm doing is I'm either coming in from the shadowed area, which would be the bottom because our character is standing up, or in this case, the creases of the cape. And then what I'm doing last is I'm actually taking light red and I'm hitting it just slightly from above, almost like creating a zenithal. As I was talking to my patrons the other day about this, I realized that I haven't used zenithals in quite a few months because I just do all my post shading. So post shading is taking your base coat and then shading it up or down to add contrast, rather than pre-shading, which is usually what you'll hear people call a zenithal. A zenithal is just a form of pre-shading. Here we can see with the blue, I'm using a light blue as my base coat. I think this is called Deep Cyan, and this is another Atom color, if I remember right. I think it was called Deep Cyan. So it is a pretty bright blue, but what we're going to do is we're going to post shade it just like we did with the red, where we took the red base coat, we added a shadow and then a highlight. We're going to do the same thing here with the blue. So after we have our model already primed in white, we're going to then paint over everything with this blue color, and then we'll start the post shading process, which if you're planning your model ahead of time, what you want to do is essentially pick your base color, a shadow color, and a highlight color. Now here you can see I'm using this Beowulf blue. Again, it's a speed paint color because my patrons asked me to show them something different than Citadels. So that's why I chose these other speed paints. And speed paints work just as well as Citadels, but they are a fraction of the cost. And you can see what I'm doing. I have my Evolution. This is my Harder and Steenbeck brush with a 0.2 millimeter needle and nozzle. I'm using that to define all of the muscles. You can see every one of these creases. I'm just going in and putting in this dark blue, and you can instantly see how the contrast is coming out in this build. And what we're doing is we're creating contrast, which what it does is your eyes see that contrast on a small model, and it makes it look real. Look how all the muscles are clearly defined now just by adding some contrast. We're going to do the same thing on the legs, and we're going to contrast those muscles. And we also want to make sure we add contrast in the shadowed areas, especially like between the legs and under the rear end. That's where you're going to see shadows naturally, so that's where we want to put them. When you're looking at a model, the model is a smaller version of the real thing. If Superman were standing in front of you, you would think he's real because you would see all these shadows. Well, at a smaller scale, you need to enhance those shadows and even exaggerate them, or else your brain thinks it's fake. And when your brain thinks it's fake, it looks like a toy. If you've ever seen these comic book toys, that's what they look like. And the question is, do you want a toy on your shelf or the real thing looking? So here what you see I'm doing is I took a highlight, which means I took the light blue and I added some white to it, in this case, because blue does get lighter with white. And I just highlighted all the raised parts of the muscles. And now we really have reached our maximum contrast because all of our muscles are really bright on top. There's a mid-tone around the sides and then a shadow on the edges and in the recesses. That's how you make something look really, really 3D and real when you're painting a model. Now, with the airbrushing out of the way, we can work on some of the detail brushing. And if you take notice, and if you look through all my videos, you'll find this, that typically my process always is to start from the airbrushing, work my way down to the detail painting, because like I said in the beginning, you want to start with your biggest area and work your way down to your smallest areas. Now the belt here, I originally made a mistake and I tried painting yellow over the red, which is a humongous mistake. It doesn't work. So you have to paint the belt white and then paint it with the yellow. And you can see here I'm using the Pro Acryls golden yellow because it was just the perfect color match for me. And Pro Acryls are able to be sprayed as well. And if you watched my recent video, you probably saw me talking about Ionics and Pro Acryls and how I'm not happy with everything in Pro Acryls. I have no complaints about their performance as airbrushing. And brushing, they work fine in most cases if you have a matte surface you're trying to paint. But my Ionics are slowly starting to replace them in a lot of cases. But anyway, here I was using the Pro Acryls, and you can see what I'm doing is now I'm filling in the S with the red. And I want to say this is also a Pro Acryl red. I don't remember exactly if it was or not, or if it's the same Atom red that I was using. I really don't remember anymore because I obviously didn't record it. So anyway, I'm using a red color. You still see that I kept everything masked off just to make it easier then for pulling these tape off and moving on. Once we have all that done, we can start putting them together, but we still have the skin. So I want to talk to you quickly about my website where you can buy your own model kits and paint them for yourself, or maybe you want to actually have me paint one for you and I can do that. So check out my website at relentlessstormmodels.com where you can get kits. You can also buy paints and paint supplies. I have Atom paints, I have Ionic paints, Vallejo. I have everything you could need to do this on your own, and I also offer the kits. Use my code STORMYT2024 at checkout to get yourself a nice discount. Again, that's relentlessstormmodels.com. You can also check out my portfolio of past works. And everything that you see here is upcoming on YouTube as well. So I have plenty of work that you can check out. Now, I'm going to start doing the skin tones on Superman. And you can see what I chose to do here was a little bit darker of a pink. I think I used magenta instead of fuchsia. Or no, I did use fuchsia here. So sometimes I'll switch it up. But I usually use fuchsia as my base coat. And that's over top of white. That's really, really important that you paint the pink over a coat of white. And then I use carmine in the shadows, and I forgot to record that part or my camera died, one of the two. But what happened is I put the red in the shadows very much like I did on the muscles before. Then again, my patrons were like, hey, you always use Atom paints. Can you show us Vallejo's Game Air and spray some skin tones and show us the comparables? So I did. These Vallejo colors are almost an exact match to the Atom range that I use on all my other models. And I just wanted to show that even with Vallejos and other brands, you can get the same desired effect. So I started with a base coat of flesh tones, and then what I did was I used a base coat that's a little bit lower in terms of brightness. That sounds awful. Let's say I used a darker tone of skin for the shadows, and then last step I do is I use like a pale flesh color, which is a highlight flesh color, just from above, almost like a zenithal, but it's last, because remember, this is post shading, not pre shading. So it's base skin tone, shadows, and then a highlight from above. And what that does is it gives us the same exact effect as everywhere else, where we have 3 different color tones in our skin. Now, I sprayed a matte varnish over top of him, but for whatever reason, the Vallejo paints, when I sprayed them, they almost left like a gloss finish. So if he looks like he's all sweaty or shiny here, that's actually the finish from the Vallejo paints. I don't know why they finished glossy, but when I sprayed a matte varnish over, they still didn't get matte. I actually had to spray 2 coats of a matte varnish on to actually make it look flat. So you'll see throughout this entire video, he looks very shiny. That's actually just him being covered by the Vallejo paints. Again, I don't know why it happened, but it did. The finish still looked really good. So now we're going to move into his portrait. You can see I did the top of his eyes in black, and I'm doing his eyebrows in black. Now I'm using a 00 brush here right now. This is a 00 by Pro Acryl. It's a synthetic brush, and I'm not usually a huge fan of synthetic brushes, but I really do like these Pro Acryl brushes, and they're really hard to get a hold of. They're almost always sold out. But when I do a portrait, I use the 00 for most of these details, as you see. And then when we go into the iris and the pupil, I use a ×10, which is like a 10-0 brush, and it's absolutely beautiful. Most small brushes that you buy are like a little tiny like hair, almost like hair follicle, and they're not really great. But these are really good, these ones from Pro Acryl. So anyway, after I did the black parts of the eye, and I did do the white, and I did do a pink part of the eye too. If you look in the corners, you'll see pink. I'm using a darker blue to start for the first layer inside the black that I put down first. I made the iris, I did the outline of it in black. Then I did a dark blue, and then I'm doing a light blue just along the bottom, kind of in a upside down C shape, like a U shape at the bottom of his eye. That way we have 2 different shades of blue in there. Then the last step is to go in and fill in the actual pupil. So it's make the iris outline in black, paint everything except the very edge of that with your darkest color of the eye, then do a U shape with the lighter color of your eye, and then paint in your pupil, and you'll get a pretty realistic result with your eyes. I really like that workflow, and I like that technique, obviously, and I use that on all my models. So I did want to give his lips a little bit of color. I didn't want to go crazy over the top. So I forget exactly which color I used, but it's just enough color that his lips aren't the same as the skin exactly, just a little bit lighter. And then the last step after we do that is to put gloss in his eyes and on his lips, because they would be a wet part. And with that, we can put Superman together and finish this beautiful model. Alrighty folks, I hope that you liked what you saw today. If you learned anything, please like this video, subscribe so you can see more videos from me, because I'm constantly making more content. I'm pumping out like 3 models a week over here, so believe me, there's no shortage of content. Don't forget to check out my Patreon as well, where you can get tons of extra content and how-tos. I'd love to see you over there.